Good evening, welcome to the programme. Remember those words the Health Minister, Patricia Hewitt, said just a week or so ago? The NHS has had its best year yet. Try telling that to the people living in Gloucestershire. Now, with access to NHS dentistry at an all-time low and the cost of private care at an all-time high, our oral health appears to be in a very poor state.
Faced with crippling dentistry bills and unable to find an NHS dentist, dozens of people here in the West are now flying to Eastern Europe to get treatment. We sent Patrick O'Hagan to Budapest to investigate what some are calling the Great Dentistry Rip-Off. And for those of you a little squeamish about bad teeth, you might want to look away just for a few seconds.
British teeth are seen as a bad joke by Americans. Decades of financial neglect within the NHS means we probably have the worst mouths in Europe. Thousands of professionals have just deserted NHS dentistry for private practice. There, it's more likely to be the bill rather than the drill that will bring tears to your eyes. But there is an answer, a new trend in the West: dental tourism. The internet, combined with cheap flights, have provided a solution for those faced with hefty bills from private clinics. From Bristol, you can fly to Budapest in just over 2 hours, where you can save £300 on just £1, enough to pay for your trip. But would you go?
I would be a bit scared going abroad.
You would be scared?
Yeah.
What would you be scared of with Hungary?
Not so much Hungary, but foreign doctors, in case they didn't know what they were doing.
I've just come back from Prague and there's nothing wrong with Eastern Europe.
And you'd be happy to trust your teeth to a Hungarian dentist?
What's wrong with them?
Simon Purchell lost several teeth in a motorcycle crash. His wife Veronica, a Hungarian dental nurse, suggested he had his broken teeth restored in Budapest. He saved thousands of pounds. He told his friends, and by word of mouth, quickly he built a successful referral business.
It's a great destination to come to, certainly Budapest. It's a very interesting city. Prejudices are certainly not founded, and certainly through my personal experience, I certainly found that out. The materials are fantastic, the qualifications are the same, the training is identical. The one big difference is the amount of experience that these dentists have. These people have been servicing Austrians and Swiss and Germans for 15 years. The volume of work is just huge here, and that's got to be good.
So how much can you save? In Britain, a porcelain crown may cost £550 in a private clinic. In Budapest, the same thing costs £150. Root treatment in England may cost up to £210 a tooth. It's a third of that in Hungary. Composite fillings costing £100 here are £40 in Budapest, and a panoramic x-ray of your jaw, which costs £30 here, is likely to be thrown in for free.
Everything that you can get now in the market is here. The X-rays are digital and computer planning program. I have to place 2 pins into the teeth.
Budapest is an absolute jewel, and it's a really well-kept secret. For decades, German, Swiss and Austrian tourists have been flocking here to enjoy a weekend break and get their teeth done on the cheap at the same time. At last, budget airlines have allowed Brits to come here and do the very same thing. It really takes the pain out of dentistry. Patrick O'Hagan in Budapest for the West Tonight.
Let's speak to Peter Ward, Chief Executive of the British Dental Association. Mr. Ward, thanks for joining us. It's appalling, isn't it, that people have to travel abroad to get treatment?
Well, I mean, it's difficult to know about particular circumstances, but clearly it is a very interesting development, isn't it, when people find that that's their only alternative.
Well, exactly. It's more than interesting, isn't it? It's because people have decided they can't get the service they want here, so they've got to get on a plane and go to Eastern Europe to get a similar treatment. Well, I mean, that's down to personal choice, isn't it? I mean, dentists in UK are well qualified, well trained, and are keen to work with the families that they've worked with for many years and continue to deliver a very high quality of service.
Well, whilst you're saying that's the case, the people that we've spoken to say that isn't their experience. It seems to be cheaper and better service overseas.
Well, that's very much a personal perspective, isn't it? I mean, I can give you any range of illustrations of very high-quality practitioners providing very high-quality care and continuing to do so to large numbers of families and patients that they've treated for many years.
But clearly, you must accept there is a problem here, otherwise we wouldn't have these examples of people going abroad. If they could get the service they wanted, they wouldn't need to.
Well, it's a personal choice. People travel for all sorts of reasons now, don't they? But I understand the point you're making, and clearly there is an issue, and the principal issue is one of a shortage of dental manpower, which has been substantially exacerbated by the recent contractual difficulties that have been initiated by the government.
So what's the government playing at then? If it knows there's this problem, is it trying to privatise dentistry by stealth?
We really don't know. I mean, the government's intended aims, or stated aims, were to improve access and to enhance availability of treatment for all members of the public. With the recent changes that were introduced on the 1st of April, 2,000 dentists who'd previously been committed to the NHS decided that they could no longer sustain it under the new rules, and so have elected to provide care under different arrangements for their patients.
OK, Peter Ward, thanks very much for your time. And tomorrow, in the second of Patrick's exclusive reports, we meet Tom Kempster from Exmoor, who's saving £10,000 by travelling to Hungary.
Now it's time for the second of our exclusive reports about the health of our dental service here in the West. Our reporter Patrick O'Hagan has travelled to Budapest in Hungary to show how you can save a fortune on private dental treatment by going abroad.
In the second of his reports, he tells the story of a local man from Exmoor who has saved an incredible £10,000 on his bill. Tom Kempster says he's been forced to become a dental tourist.
Enjoying a city break with his wife Elaine, Tom Kempster, who lives near Exmoor, has been forced into becoming one of the West's first dental tourists. Faced with a shocking bill, he felt like he needed sedation.
I'm having 2 bridges. It's quite extensive work. I'm having 5 implants and quite a number of extra crowns. In England, that would probably come to £15,000–17,000, whereas here it comes to about £5,000.
Tom searched the internet and discovered that Budapest is a centre of excellence for dentistry. He booked some cheap flights and found a reputable agent who had already vetted Hungary's best dentists, so he ended up at the implant centre for treatment.
The standard of care has been so good, and you really do get a feeling that they're up to date, that they look after you and they know what they're doing. Dental work in England under the NHS is just not highly regarded anymore. It's done cheaply. If you want something like this done, then you get given the cheapest thing they can do. I feel quite sad that England has got like this.
As do many committed dental surgeons who remain reluctantly within our NHS despite being overworked and underpaid. Do you think this is stealth privatisation?
It feels that way. Whether it's deliberate or not, I don't know, but it does feel like the dentists are being pushed out of the NHS because the treatments that we can realistically offer on the NHS are pretty basic stuff. It's pretty much getting people out of trouble.
At least 10% of NHS dentists have just voted with their feet and left the NHS.
The contracts that they've offered us this time around are the last nail in the coffin for dentists who want to stay within the NHS. The amount of funding we've been offered as a practice is 10% of what we should have had. So it's just impossible.
Dentists' qualifications, tools and materials cost the same in Hungary as they do back home in the West.
So how do British dentists justify their prices?
They're using the same materials, they're using the same Brandemark implants, the qualifications are the same, the training is identical.
Hungary is part of Europe, yet many patients fear they're being ripped off by British dentists who, despite being in short supply, can charge what they like for private treatment. So should private dentistry be regulated? Getting the answer to that one's harder than pulling teeth.
Perfectly placed at the heart of Europe and only 2 hours flying from Bristol Airport, it's entirely conceivable that in future, instead of private dentistry being done in the West, people will fly here and have it done at a fraction of the cost, providing prices stay low. Patrick O'Hagan in Budapest for the West Tonight.
Still to come on the programme.